finally, we have in the studios Professor Grace Ayesu Dankwa. She is a surgeon, humanitarian assistance, and disaster management practitioner. And I believe she's even so perfect for this discussion about flooding. You've seen and heard what has happened in the Volta region, some parts of the eastern Greater Accra OT region. And while the media reports try to paint a good picture of what's happening, when you actually visit the people, you see that it's much worse than we are able to comfortably report in the media. There's been a lot of calls on disaster management organizations aside NADMO, NGOs and so on, to come and help. From what you've seen so far, how are we doing?
Thank you so much. So far, from what I'm seeing, I'm still very sad, and I'm still, I'm just surprised at how we are treating our brothers and sisters in the Volta region and all the other regions that have been affected. It's been how many, I believe, several weeks now. We haven't seen a proper disaster management plan. The InterMinisterial Committee has not put out any disaster management plan. The president went there, didn't say much, was worried about his votes. The vice president just went in, dropped in, parachuted in, and then gave them some money and left. The sanitation minister, I don't even know what she was saying, blaming the victims. It's as if, none of these flag bearers, quote unquote, vying for the MPP flag bearership this week or next week, have even said anything about it. So they are all almost as if they are immune to what is happening to our brothers and sisters in the Volta region. So that makes me really sad, and I'm wondering, is this really Ghana, and how did we get here? So, like my sister said prior to us getting on air, it's what they should have done before. They didn't do it. They didn't force evacuate the people. They didn't give enough adequate warning. They didn't spill maybe smaller spills than a big uncontrolled spill. So they have done all that, and we are where we are now. If you go to ground zero, where this thing is happening, that we call the disaster management zone ground zero. It's just disaster management language. If you go to ground zero today, the things we see on TV doesn't do justice to the actual issues happening on the ground. Yeah. Yesterday I was watching a show, and it's in Germany, and you should see the people have already started having rashes. Mm-hmm. You saw them washing their clothes. You saw the toilet immersed submerged in the water. You saw the people using that same water. Some of them were actually drinking it, using it for washing their clothes. Yeah. So this is super contaminated water, but there's still no water. So in spite of all the people donating and some of the private individuals coming in, there is still not the massive mobilization that we should really have done. And that massive mobilization always has to come from government. It's nice that individuals are donating. It's nice that you're asking for donations here at TV3. It's nice. We are all Ghanaians, and when our fellow sisters and brothers are in trouble, we should all contribute to help. But the government is the one who is supposed to drive this disaster management or humanitarian assistance drive. We don't see that. So far, we haven't seen any plan. So far, they haven't called a state of emergency. We have been asking, those of us in the disaster management industry have been asking for a state of emergency. A state of emergency is a legal entity, or it's a legal vehicle, or it's a governance vehicle that we use when we say that this is a state of emergency. All of a sudden, it triggers a lot of donors. It triggers a lot of things that to augment what we are already doing on the ground. Obviously, NADMO is inadequate to help this situation. VRA is inadequate. Ghana government is not even there, really. So what we need to do is to declare a state of emergency. Once we declare a state of emergency, if I'm a country director for an NGO called Project Hope, right? We used to have the Hope ships and do free surgeries around the world. If my government declares a state of emergency, I can go to Project Hope today You know, the aid agencies, they're looking for certain triggers. If you don't think it's an emergency, how is somebody supposed to come and help you? And even if they come, will they bring everything you really need? And it's not even just logistics, and it's not even just bringing rice and food. It is about even the expertise that you need to manage the situation. The doctors that you need to manage these skin diseases and diarrheal diseases that are going to come up. So that state of emergency triggers a lot of things that it's a process that triggers a lot of things that helps you manage your crisis or your disaster. The government hasn't done that.
Can you conjecture, guess why? Why are we not just declaring a state of emergency?
I personally believe that this whole thing is some sort of tribalistic, just the fact that they don't really care, or they're just trying to disenfranchise the Volta region. Because I have thought about it, and I'm trying to not think that way. But so far, everything I'm seeing is driving me to that conclusion. Because why? If this had happened in, let's say, in Chebi, and I'm only using Chebi because the president is from there, do you think this is how we'll manage it? We have flagged people vying to be president of this country. Baumia hasn't said anything. Kennedy Japan hasn't said anything. Efri Yakoto hasn't said anything. In terms of how are we going to manage this? If you want to lead the country tomorrow, and today there's a crisis, and you are now worried about your election, the president goes there and mentions his election. My only conclusion, unfortunately, is that this must be some sort of a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise the people of the Volta region.
Baumia also visited. He gave them, I believe, 160,000 Ghana cedis. That was Baumia. And the president was also there to tell them how he felt about what had happened.
This is the person who's paying 20,000 per delegate, and is bringing 100,000, and it's not even about the money, you understand. It's about the empathy and the sympathy. It's about how they empathize with our fellow Ghanaians, President Narabesi, fellow Ghanaians. There's no, I don't see the empathy. I don't see the real care. I don't see them on ground zero. I don't see them participating in the recovery effort. So now we are the response. The response is bad, and now we are even getting to recovery. And you know, from what you saw when you went there, is that some of these places, the water might not even recede. So some of these communities are actually permanently been removed from their local area.
From your disaster management point of view, how do you feel about calls for the people in the affected areas to be evacuated and resettled? Are we at that point yet? Or are we asking for too much at this time?
We've already passed that point. Before they spilled, my sister here said that before they spilled, they should have done certain things.
They did a simulation exercise.
No, that's
they
not
also
enough.
Announced.
No, it's not enough. They should have, knowing the magnitude of water they were pushing out there. This is like you're opening the ocean, and the ocean is now rushing into a whole area. You don't just do a simulation test.
What do you do?
You force evacuate the people.
What does force evacuation
Force evacuation means that you call a state of emergency, the military bring cars, the government bring vehicles, we go to homes, we put people, you bring your whatever, the things you need, the immediate things, we put you in a vehicle, we take you to a safe place, we take you to a camp, the camp is already set up, we have toilet facilities, we have drinking water. This is what it's called proper disaster management. What we are doing is ad hoc, you know, oh, this person has brought 5 bags of rice. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good that people are donating. But the issue is that it has to be even coordinated. When you went there, you saw how the people are suffering. You saw that now they don't even have the water. The drinking water still hasn't come. The plan hasn't come. The people are still there. Yesterday, I saw pregnant women in canoes going to antenatal care. When they went almost like 3 hours in very dangerous, treacherous water. They got there and the clinic was even closed. I saw people with skin rashes. They have started the diarrheal diseases already. The doctor, the health directorate is talking about, cholera diseases that have already started. It's talking about ileal perforations, you know. So we are getting to a stage where this thing is going to get out of hand. And then we are still not even prepared. What is the government's plan? The response is actually aimed at saving lives. At this juncture, post this event, we're now going to get more death, more people being, the morbidity and the mortality is going to go up. Infant mortality rate is going to go up because one of the biggest problems for children under 5 is diarrheal diseases that kills them. So we are heading that direction already. But as we speak, again, what is the government emergency plan? Have they activated any emergency services? What is the evacuation plan? Where are they going to go? Some of them might even need to be permanently. After this, you do the temporary evacuation. You might have to permanently house some of these people. NDC, my party has talked about the Sagleme housing. 1,500 houses are sitting there. Luckily for us, the area that is involved is close to this place. So at least give them temporary housing there. It just boggles my mind. I think it's unconscionable what they're doing, And this kind of treatment of your fellow man is not the way you should go, especially as a government who came to us begging us, all these things. Dr. Baumia, I'm taking the dollar, I'm going to lock it, and all that. Look at where we are today. They don't even care about our own fellow Ghanaians. So I'm very disappointed.
Constantly nodding as Prof.
I'm very disappointed and sad.
You agree with a lot of the things she's saying.
But we've spoken about it. The CPP has spoken about it. A plan is key. Let me greet your viewers and let me say hello to my sisters here. It's a pleasure to meet you, Doc, and Latu Latu. She's my own. How are you, dear?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. Okay. You see, we've had three. They've had 3 meetings, ministerial meetings.
The InterMinisterial Committee that was set up.
3 meetings, and they have not been able to come up with a plan.
It takes time, doesn't it?
What time? This is an emergency. What time? You see, the people, they've been left to themselves. That is what I see. They are fending for themselves. They are surviving on their own. Nobody really cares. There's no expertise in the area to say that how do we deal with this drastic disaster. There's nobody. You see, the people are there trying to survive on their own. You get me? Trying to survive on their own. There's no assistance. It's as if you don't have a government. It's as if the government does not even exist. That's your call. You see, you vote for a government to look after a nation. And we are the custodians of power. And the Constitution says that sovereignty lies within the bosom of the Ghanaian. So whatever power they are wielding today and using it to look down upon us, we gave them that power. We have employed the MPP to look after this nation, and they have done it abysmally. Especially with what is happening now. We have spoken variously about what happened before. Do you get me? They should have been more proactive than what they did. Doc said forced evacuation. You have spoken about it. I asked the question, when you talk about force, we have the police force. We have the military. We call them the forces. So in a case like this, where there is some form of recalcitrance, what you then do is that you rein in the police, the military, the navy to come in and force people. And you should have already had a safe haven to take them. If you go and do a simulation and tell them that, we are going to spill, so move. Where am I going to move to? And simulation, this is the 11th time that there has been a spillage. From where I stand and from where I worked at the PRC, I said one thing and I will not stop saying it. Somebody wanted to maximize profit. That we have a tariff made up of 2 components, thermal and hydro. And because the water level was rising, they thought that they should use more water, hydro, to generate the electricity to make more profit so that they get more money, because hydro is cheaper. And I am paying a thermal price, a mixture. But if they are generating only with hydro, then it means that what? they will make more profit. If the dam gets to, I think we don't have to even retreat. If the dam gets to 272, you should start thinking about spilling. If anybody waits till it's 277, and in a rush you spill, open all the spillways, then it means that you are bringing disaster. The people did not move because they thought it was business as usual. They thought that, oh, the status quo remains where when you spill, their farmlands will be destroyed. They never thought that it would be this bad. And the VRE knew that it would be bad. Then it means that they are not working. Because you have a flow chart that will tell you the flow of the water. You also have a meteo. They'll forecast for you how bad the rains are coming. You yourself would know as a CEO that you'll be reported to. From Akosombo and Akuse, that this is the level of the water, the way it is coming, we need to spill. You just go and do simple simulation and leave. It is negligence. It's an act of incompetence. I don't like using those harsh words, but this is it, because this time Ghanaians are in trouble and they have been left on their own. It's sad. Yesterday, the woman who they have rashes. These are not ordinary rashes. These are skin infections. And doctor is here, I don't know if it's right.
They are skin infections.
These are skin infections.
Can lead to skin cancer.
Can lead to skin cancer, emanating from within. And you don't even know which organ has been touched for the body to react in this manner. Because the water that they are using is contaminated. Simple. You don't know which organ has been touched. Because for you to get a reaction from within to the outside, then it means that something is going on from within. And nobody cares. It's a business as usual. So sometimes you tend to believe the conspiracy theory that there is an attempt to break the 8. I mean, you because there is total negligence.
It's far-fetched, isn't it?
It is, but you get me. You wonder in your mind that what exactly is happening. What is going on? Nobody cares because they are just there. Now NADMO is telling us that the water is receding. Receding where? Receding where? We have an MP in the Volta region, Mepe, who is very out there. So we think that it is only Volta region. We have parts of Eastern region. Oti region. Greater region. Yesterday, Bupe.
Yeah.
I spoke to the MP for Ada, Honorable. Yes. She said 19 communities in her constituency have been submerged underwater. 19. Do you understand? So this is not even as far as our farm plains. Honorable and their peer Kubi came out to say that he has lost his farms. His rice farms have been submerged. So this issue is not about NDC, CPP, or MPP. It is about Ghanaians. Because every single person has been affected. I mean, I say that when the president says that a region doesn't vote for him or a constituency doesn't vote for him, it doesn't make sense because we are doing a numbers game. And once you are doing a numbers game, any single vote that you get in a certain place counts to your victory. And that is how the Volta region voted 100,000 in 2020 for the MPP.
They have said that that comment was supposed to be a reassurance.
That's what?
That even though
my dear,
comments have been made about the fact that historically the Volta region does not vote for him, that doesn't matter. So he was reassuring them that it doesn't matter.
Please.
He's still with them.
When you make a statement and you have to explain yourself after you've made the statement, then you know that you made the wrong statement.
You see, the government, the president, the vice, the cabinet, the ministers, I have said and I will say time and time again that we employ them. So the moment they ascend that position, they are no longer for the parties for which they represent. They are for Ghanaians. You needn't remind anybody that you voted for me or didn't vote for me. That is not the point. You've been given a job to do. And the job that you have been given to do, you are doing it for everybody. Irrespective of political color, irrespective of tribe, creed, religion, whatever. So you have no rights whatsoever that you have been voted for. And that's because somebody hasn't voted for you. You have to remind the person.
Reassure.
No, but the point is that the resources of this nation, has it been divided into party colors? The resources of this nation belongs to 32 million people given to us by God. And it is us. It is our property, our bona fide property, and we decide who should look after it. It has no party color. The gold that they are doing galamsey over, has it got a party color? They have given it a party color today because they are doing galamsey. But it hasn't got a party color. The bauxite, has it got a party color? No. It has Ghana on it. The flag of Ghana, red, gold, green with a star in the middle. That is what it is. That is the designation for our resources. And that is what they are superintending over. And they should be able to use it judiciously for us. So in this manner, the president should come and tell us how much money they have voted with a plan. At this time, you are still meeting and drinking tea and taking per diem and enjoying pedriase. And immediately you finish the meeting, you run off to Munich. As if nothing is happening in this nation. Nobody is saying anything. Where is the plan? Everything we are talking about, Saglemi and whatever, these are suggestions. So you should come and tell us that we have a place in the Accra Plains. We have a place here, A, B, C, D. We have to evacuate point A to point B. Some people are not very much affected. Their houses can be saved. Some people should be permanently removed. Do you know that what is going on with time can bring about suicides? Because people are mental health, because psychologically, if I look at what I have lost, this hard Ghana, I've been able to build a house, and I have lost everything. We are just looking at the flats, but people have lost everything.
Now, teacher, who said he just left on his way to school. He was called to come back. When he got back, he could not see his house. It was totally submerged. Yes. And so all he had left was what? Yes. So even his car and everything. Yes. Yes. So people have lost everything.
You have, and what you have to lose everything to understand what they are going through. It is a lot of trauma they are going, and they are strong people. I congratulate them. For them to even get up in the morning and go about their daily chores. What about the businesses? The farms. The tilapia business along the Volta Lake. 90 billion is gone. You reported it. They have lost money, livelihood, everything, and you don't care. You set up this InterMinisterial Committee should have been set up before Spillage. Because you see, if they didn't know that this year, because of the rain, it was going to be like this, then it is problematic. It should have been set up before, so that plans are put in place to ensure that the people are resettled and resettled comfortably. So that even if it happened, they would know how to deal with it. Besides, but Ghana too, we have failed. We have failed because by now we should have been able to get some form of technology that would make sure that even if there are floods, these houses will be saved. Because they are within the catchment. We've done this 11 times. VRA. What have they done for the community? It is all about getting the money. Yesterday I was talking to some, the person said, yes, you remember when we were there? It's all about they getting money. It is not about anything. So they sat down aloof, generating, thinking. You see this government, the people in this government, they're always thinking. E-level, thinking that we will get the money. IMF, thinking that it will come and solve our problem. Every time it's thinking, without having any definite plan.
No, planning begins with thinking, doesn't it?
No, but some of that, you just think, some people, these people, they think and they dream.
They implement.
What have
if it doesn't go according to plan, it's a different. Well, you mentioned the e-levy. It was implemented. We believe that we would have made a certain amount of money.
I like this word that you have used.
Which word?
Believe. If you live your life,
your emergency
always believing, not doing any research, not putting any data to it. That this thing that I'm doing, nothing scientific, you just believe.
Oh, but there was a lot of data and research which accompanied the part of the implementation of the e-levy. Even though we did not want it, we did not agree.
My dear, what data and research? You see, there is.
It wasn't made in a vacuum.
My dear, there's vacuumous data and research, which is very. The word is not coming, which is very. It's like selfish. I don't want to use the word selfish, but it is like opinionated based on wrong indicators that because of COVID, people were doing a lot of businesses on internet, online businesses, electronic. So it means that you can tax those businesses and make money. I asked them, so if they stop?
A lot of people stop.
Yes, me, I stopped doing Momo. You are not in charge of my wallet unless you want to come and pickpocket. You can't force me to do e-levy.
Let's talk to Latu.
You see, that is what I'm talking about. These people should be able to plan and plan effectively.
Let's talk to Latu. Latu, you've had Prof. Grace and Nanaya, and I see you taking a lot of notes.
It's sad.
They're always writing.
It's really sad.
Even one district, one factory.
Good morning to Nanaya. Good morning to Dr. Grace.
I miss you, Papa.
Good morning, and good morning to our viewers. I miss you too. It's sad to sit here this morning and hear some of the comments that Nanaya and Dr. Grace have made. And the saddest bit of it is to have Dr. Grace come with a tribalistic angle. It's most unfortunate and sad that we sit here this morning with over 35,000 people in distress, over 9,000 women, over 9,000 female children, over 280 disabled people. And the best we can do is talk about tribalism. It's most unfortunate. And I think, and I've said this on another platform, the last thing any of us should be doing is reducing the lives of fellow citizens to a vote. 191 communities are in distress. And let's also have the issues clear. 191 communities are affected by the spillage of the Volta, the Akosombo Dam. But the other places, we are talking about, that's the what is within the catchment area of VRA. So that's 191 communities in the Volta region and beyond. There are other communities due to rain, due to the overflow of the Black Volta, like here in Bipe, spillage from Bui Dam, that are also affected. And in all this, it's NADMO that has to deal with the issues. But the most affected people are the ones within the spillage catchment area. And I think that as we sit here this morning, that should be our focus and not what. If Dr. Grace cares to know, in September 2022, Shebi, as she mentioned, got flooded, I think for the first time, if my memory serves me right. Over thousands of people got displaced. I don't think it was handled differently. The same NADMO that is in the middle of this was the same institution that managed it. So for her to say if it had happened in Chebi, it would have been different, I think it's most unfortunate. And we should be encouraging such comments on such platforms. Now, I've given you figures. If we're not there, there's an emergency operation center at Baton. And that is where all these things are coming. You have been there. You've seen the level of distress. These people may never recover. And that's a fact. Anybody who understands these things knows. But how do we assuage the difficulties they find themselves in? I don't think TV3 or Media General waited for government to, and we must commend you for the initiative we're taking. You didn't wait for government to come and say, TV3 or Media General, help us raise it. That is the kind of people we are. When you see your neighbor, when you see your brothers and sisters in distress, that is the Ghanaian in us. That is the hospitality in us. You stretch a hand to help. And I'm sure that is what has motivated you to do. And we commend you for it. But be as it may, government has to do the core mandate of government to make sure that the welfare of citizens are paramount.
What is government doing at this time?
Exactly.
Let me tell you what government has done so far and still doing.
Okay.
And all these things are there because we're on the ground. And we have an emergency operations thing. And I've mentioned
it's in Bato?
It's in Bato.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it doing?
If you let me
Okay.
finish. All the figures I gave you in terms of the numbers that are displaced, if we didn't have presence on the ground, we wouldn't have all those statistics for you. Over 47 schools have displaced, over 30. And out of the over 35,000 people, over 27,000 of them are living with relatives. How did we get to know that? Because we looked out for the people. You've seen the relief items. Water, provision of clean water has been restored at Aveime. When you go to King,
Through Ghana Water?
Come again.
Through Ghana Water?
Through Ghana, VRA and community water.
Okay. So
They
there
also, yes,
flow now.
Aveime. I'm mentioning
Okay.
places, not like I'm saying it in vacuum.
Okay.
For us not to, I'm telling you, clean water access has been restored in Aveime.
Okay.
Between VRA, NADMO, and Ministry of Energy, over 5,000 solar lamps have been distributed to people within the area. The 48th Regiment is in there. The Naval Training Command is in there, coupled with the efforts of NADMO. They are in the communities helping out. Some of the areas were cut off. Now access roads have been developed. These are things on the ground that you can verify. Till date, there are still citizens calling in to alert institutions on the fact that they haven't relief items. And that is why the call center, and you can call the call center, it's 311 from any Nanaya. When the two of you were talking,
Yeah,
I was
please be
quiet.
and let her talk.
You said a lot of things that are not true. I was quiet. The most affected area is not done. We all keep mentioning Mebe. Most affected area. When you take the over 35,000 people, over 12,000 people are within the Northern area. So it's the most affected community in there. And even with their 27 safe havens and more are being, out of all these places, the relief items go in there. More is needed. And so far, Volta River Authority has committed 20 million to the relief process. And NADMO is at the center of it. Come again.
We heard
and
that.
20 million has been voted, and they've committed to make sure that they restore the communities within who have been affected by the spillage.
You mean after the water receipts?
As we sit here, we are seeing, when the videos that you're showing, you are just seeing roofs. With all this water, who can possibly assess the integrity of the building? The loss within those buildings, it can be done. So the government's plan is a 3-step approach.
Okay.
Evacuate the people to safe havens.
Okay.
Get them relief items so they are safe. Get them health care. There are health service workers all over the communities. They are there. Ghana Health Service, the VRA started with their own health department. Obviously, they won't have the capacity to do that in over 9 districts.
I don't want to cut you while you're talking, but you're saying some things that are new to me.
Okay.
The evacuation plan, has it been announced?
Yes.
Announced to who?
To Ghanaians.
That's what is being implemented.
How is
And
it
if you
being
remember,
implemented?
if you followed on Tuesday, there was an engagement with VRA and press, men and women. Your lady was there. She usually does the morning news. She recently got married. What's her name? Is it something Brown?
Judith Brown.
Judith was there.
Okay.
The VRA deputy CEO was there, engaged with the press. And those engagements will be done periodically. And even going for, because we couldn't get the full complement of the people on the ground, because you can't have them sitting in Ministry of Information giving information when they have to be working. So going forward, and it will be done as much as possible to keep Ghanaians in touch with what is being done. So the press engagement will be done at the venues going forward, so that people can relate to them. But on Tuesday, there was an engagement, and VRA came out to mention. That's where the information of the water and all those things.
And the
when you go to
plan.
all those things are there. There were certain questions that journalists asked, and the people who were supposed to answer were not there. Those questions will be answered. So for anyone to sit here and say there's no plan, then how are they moving? How are they being coordinated? Have you seen people running over each other there? All these things are not. The 27 safe havens are there. How do we know that it's 191 communities if there's no coordinated approach to get the people? How do we know the number of people affected? Because we are on the ground and making sure that, as for the relief items, they'll continue going. And that's what I was telling you, that VRA has committed 20 million already. And as it goes on, or when the assessment is good, because once you evacuate them to the safe havens, like I said, over 27,000 of them are living with their relatives, just as we live in there. But as you evacuate them to safe havens and you give them relief items to stabilize them, you make sure that you are taking care of their health needs. You are making sure that you are continuously
testing. Is this
testing.
happening?
Mm-hmm. Why would I lie? Why would I sit
I'm
here
asking
and sit there and
because-
I'm giving references to places.
So are
you
these
are a
happening
big
in
girl. You have
specific-
correspondence all over.
Are these
Let them
happening
check.
in specific areas? Because a lot of the areas that we have visited do not have these things that you are referring to. So, for instance, we haven't been to Avayment. So when you mentioned Avayment,
Monday,
and then I believe that because you are telling
when
me.
you
and I
go to
haven't been there.
a place
However,
like,
so-
even when you go to a place like St. Kizito School,
yes, since
look,
Kizito.
the school was built for
Day
a
school.
number of people. It's now become one of the
Yes.
centers. That is why it's being augmented, because you can't expect them, this number, quantum of people, to be using the same facilities that the students were. That's where the augmentation of the toilet facilities come in. That's where some of the mobile toilets are
At
going
St.
in.
Kizito? Because I've been to St. Kizito.
When were you there?
I was there on Thursday and I went back again on
Thursday
Sunday.
State was what?
Last Thursday, and I was
Last
back
Thursday.
there on Sunday.
The information I'm giving you
Okay.
is as at 23rd October.
Okay, so that was on...
And 23rd October was when? Tuesday. Today is what, 25th?
On Monday. That
Oh,
was on
26th, Monday.
Okay.
As at the time we're speaking on Monday.
Okay.
I was with doctor on another platform. As at the
Okay.
time we're speaking, we had, they had counted some close to 14,000 or something. But now, as at 23rd, we have in excess of 35,000 people disaggregated. That's why I can give you the number of females, the number of female children, the number of disabled people. So these things are there. More has to be done, no doubt about it. And the VRA is committed to that. More has to be done. You are taking relief items and all that. You have communities that you go and help. It doesn't change anything. That is how it's supposed to be done. But what government has to be done? And as I was telling you, it's a three-step approach. Evacuate them, take them to safe havens, right? Then there you can start assessing the effect. Like I said, now look at the video there. You're seeing the roof, you're seeing the house. So there are other ones that you can't even see. How can anybody do an assessment of it? So if anybody even wants to know the cost, the damage, the effect, what has been lost, it will be difficult to do it until it's. But once the people are safe and all that, it's continuous monitoring and evaluating and improving on the approaches being used.
Is NADMO well resourced?
Come again.
Is NADMO well resourced to be able to provide the relief items that these people need? And I'm going to ask, specifically about a small area which has been very popular over the time, Mepe, and the St. Kizito camp that you mentioned.
The highest number of
when you go to the camp that you mentioned, St. Kizito, you see that, I don't know if the military or the Navy have put up tents, okay, about 4 of them. Now the tents can house about 23 people at a time. The tents are very hot, but that's a side point.
So
Because I went there in the afternoon. Perhaps in the evening it's all right. However, these tents don't have mattresses or mosquito nets. a particular tent which houses about 21 women and then 2 boys with mothers and a pregnant woman and 2 babies who are under 3 months old have 1 mosquito net, okay, and 1 mattress. So I asked them how they're coping, and they said, well, this is the best they could get at this time. And a similar story can be told about the other tents that are there. Is NADMO really well resourced to be able to bring help to the people in terms of these mosquito nets which are needed to help in the prevention of malaria? You know, it's a school, and so they had a toilet, but of course they don't have a bathroom where the women can bath.
Some number of mobile toilets.
They cannot bath basically because it's a school compound. So the women, you know, complained that one woman I spoke to said she hadn't taken a bath since the disaster happened. And this was last week Thursday, in all fairness. So for about 7 days she hadn't taken a bath because there was no way to do it, and because they don't have proper housing, people are up all night and there's really no privacy as she's pregnant. Okay, is NADMO really, in all honesty, does NADMO need help? Is NADMO able to send the help that these people need in the volumes that they need it?
No institution in this country is well resourced. If you put it in that way, nobody gets their full budget in other things. But in this case, VRA is in there committing money. Government is committing money. I can say for a fact that was it Tuesday or Monday, NADMO was giving some money to augment what you did. So you were there on Thursday.
And again, on
based
Sunday.
on these feedbacks, the conditions they are living in, it will be. It comes to the attention of the officers there. It will be improved upon. More are going. Initially, the items that went were not enough, but day in, day out, items are being sent in there. Day in, day out, food is being sent there. So, as of Thursday, that was the situation. But I can't sit down, I need to verify. But in all honesty, I can't sit down and say it's still the same. Because since Thursday, a lot of items have gone in there. Apart from that, other individuals have gone in there. Individual citizens have gone in there. But it will also help if individuals going in there also give some recourse. We are talking about coordination. Give some recourse to NADMO. So you don't have communities already benefiting.
Yes, that's
to keep
why
benefiting and all that. Yes. And that's what I've told you. There's an operational center in there. Battle. There's a call center that you can call, 311. There are NADMO officials everywhere. There are VRA officials everywhere. There are other institutions in there. There are government agencies in there. A couple of days back, the Minister of Education was in there.
Yes.
You know, books are going to get there. As an assessment has been done, books are going to be sent in there. The kids are going to be clustered so that we see how learning and teaching goes on till other measures can be put in place. So it's a continuous process. If feedback like what you're giving us doesn't come, if we are not getting reports from the ground and all that, how best can you get these reports? It's interacting with the people. It's having people give feedback. It's having people send concerns through the call center and all that. But to sit down here and say, oh, we've done everything, everybody is okay, then I'll be telling a very big lie. It's a continuous process. This will take a while, but the agency in charge is committed to making sure that this has been done. Also, the things about someone should answer and all that, I don't think this is the time we should be talking about it. If someone is culpable, if someone has done anything untoward to intensify the situation, definitely in the long term, all these things can be dealt with. Because by the time...
So there's a plan to deal with...
Come again.
So there's a plan to deal with whoever is responsible, if someone
you
is
have
responsible
a plan,
for this.
Evacuate the people, keep them safe, then go into the other technical issues. If going through all those things in the long term, it comes up that someone was negligent, obviously, there has to be a way to deal with it. But as it stays now,
it's not priority.
What's the priority in every disaster management? It's the safety of the people in distress.
Okay.
And this is not lost on anybody. So all these tribalistic comments, all these things about Volta region. It's unfortunate and must be discouraged. And someone like Dr. Grace shouldn't be going on that propaganda tangent. It doesn't help anybody. At the end of the day, we all know we are going towards talking about flag bearer aspirants, not talking about it and all that. How many people on their side have spoken about it? You get it. I mean, if you feel that I want to help, nobody stops you from it. But at least let's have a coordinated approach to it. People do. You are here. People are coming day in, day out to come and donate. Other media stations are doing it. It doesn't stop anybody from helping. You get it.
Sorry, I just have one question for her.
But why are you uncomfortable? When when we were talking, I didn't say anything. You said a lot of things I had to address. Why am I sitting here?
Just a moment.
Why am I sitting? I'm not addressing what? I'm not addressing your tribalistic comments.
Ladies, I will give you the opportunity.
But my tribalistic comment was
Prof,
very.
please hold on.
Can I just
please no. I'd like
make
to ask
such
you one last
comments
question
in the
and then I'll
middle
come to you.
of a disaster.
Dr.
You
Latu,
reduce
the
it.
InterMinisterial Committee
Don't worry,
that
I'll
has
be
been
one
set up.
soon, so I'll accept
I
it.
call you Doc.
Yeah, I'll be one soon, inshallah.
The InterMinisterial Committee that has been set up,
Yes,
does it have the Health Minister?
Come again.
The
No, it
InterMinisterial Committee.
No, but I know but now the whole thing is, you have a group of ministers in there. As we said, the Ghana Health Service is in there.
I understand
You
that.
don't necessarily have to have.
I understand
The chief
that.
of staff is the one
But
chairing
if you
this.
would just listen,
But
if you would just listen,
Yes.
I think I'm just wondering.
Yes.
So these ministries, I believe, the ministers who are on this committee have a role to play in helping solve this problem. That
Coordinating it properly,
exactly.
yes.
And the area, according to the Public Health Directorate in the region, has been declared a public health emergency zone. So I was wondering why the Minister of Health is not on the InterMinisterial
I think it's a feedback
Committee.
that can be sent to government to
All right.
include the health
All
minister.
right.
If you know,
All
but
right.
when it comes to coordination of these things, I mean, in our constitution, you can have a number of cabinet ministers, but when ministers are needed to augment certain discussions of cabinet, they go there. So, but this is feedback that can be carried to the chief of staff. So do it. It's nothing. It's not. I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary to add
So you're
the
right
Minister of
about
Health
the
to that.
Interministerial Committee. It should include the Minister of Health because this is a health emergency. My sister Loretta here, it's hard for her. I can see that she's defending the indefensible. You understand? Everything she said.
The health minister
she
is on the
didn't
committee.
have.
The health minister is on the
No,
committee.
he wasn't on the committee when they mentioned it yesterday. So
The
maybe
health
this
minister
morning
is on
they
the
put him
committee.
on the committee.
Is it a
His
new
name was
addition?
not on
Yes.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Let me
us
get
read
you the
from-
details. So
from the one
get you
from
something
2
you
days
can
ago.
read yourself,
But
so
besides
doctor doesn't.
that,
All right.
You know, she's defending the indefensible, and now she's trying to grasp for.
He's been added.
He's been added.
So the
Yes,
feedback
it
has
was
been
just
well
been
taken.
added.
Thank you.
So
It doesn't
she's
change
grasping
anything, though.
for straws to make a case that doesn't exist. This is an Akufo-Addo government
just imagine
flood,
the tangent
right?
she's going
He totally.
You say it's a what?
It's an Akufo-Addo flood.
Why would you say
how?
that?
Because
how?
the time, like
Dr.
my
Grace.
sister said, can I finish? When you were talking, everybody was quiet.
Look, you're not quiet.
My sister said that there should have been certain things they did before they moved that lever for the water to come. And because they didn't do that, this interministerial committee should have been set up before. By the way, the health minister is not on the interministerial committee.
She's saying that he has just been
no,
added.
she has to show us the proof. He wasn't it, or it's an afterthought. He wasn't. Why would they, if they really cared about the people, should it even be afterthought to add the health minister? You understand? Then she said that VRA has pledged money, 20 million. It's not about the money. It's about the planning. Everything she has said doesn't even give us the plan. Where is the plan? That is the question we asked. I asked, you asked, and my sister here asked. Where is the plan? She's trying to. First, they were the victims, and now they are the perpetrators. She's not sure where she wants to stand because she's literally defending the indefensible. What the government has done to the people in the Volta region is unconscionable.
I can't defend
as
you
a government spokesperson,
reducing people's lives to votes. I can't defend
as a
that.
government spokesperson For her to come and sit here and lie to us about some of the things she has said is also very
What
wrong.
did she lie about?
The statistics she's given. She's painting
Lord
a
have
picture
mercy.
as if what is happening. You saw what you saw, didn't you see?
What do you mean by the
when
statistics?
you went to that school
The
that she
numbers of
talked
the people.
about, when you went to that school, what did you see? She's painting a picture as if some nice thing is happening. You go and even the children are studying. It is not the real picture on the ground. And as a government spokesperson or VRA, PRO or NADMO PRO, I'm not even sure what role she's playing today. She should have gone to ground zero. So when she's informing the people, these platforms that we have is to inform people, is to educate people. So you don't come to platforms like this and make up stories that don't exist on the ground. You understand? So like you as a journalist and you realize that you had to go and see what was happening on the ground so that when you sit here and you're talking, you know exactly what you're talking about. You have the empathy. You saw the pregnant women.
Yes,
you
but
saw the children. You
I
saw
believe,
the disabled
yes,
children.
yes.
She hasn't
In
even
all
been
fairness,
there.
Now you have
And she's
Mepe.
painting-
In all fairness,
she hasn't been
she's
there.
talking
You have
about
Mepe, right?
I was.
She
Did you
hasn't
see the
been
clinic?
there before, and she's
No.
painting a
You didn't go
picture
to the clinic.
as
I went
if-
to the Bator Catholic Hospital.
But Mepe
Which
had-
is outside,
It's
Mepe
outside
had
the
a
flood
clinic.
zone.
You
Which is
get
outside
it.
Mepe.
You get
but
it.
I just
But
wanted
you
to
don't
say
put, you
that
don't put
the things that
you don't put
Latu
your
is
operation
talking about,
centers
the things
in
that
the
Latu-
flood zone.
just hang on.
No,
The
She's
thing
talking
that
about
Latu-
things
You know
that
this
have
better
been
than
done
I
since
do.
the 23rd.
You don't put
Those
your
things
operation
I was there
center
before the
on
23rd.
in the
It
flats.
didn't happen in the one day.
Oh.
Let's stop
Now,
making
look,
excuses and
the
let's call
dog
a
is
spade
One at
a
a
spade.
time, one at a time.
Let's stop making excuses and let's call a spade a spade. You understand? It's rather unfortunate. People are watching us. People want to be educated. People want to hear the truth. So if somebody comes out and paints a picture that is completely false from what is happening on the ground, we have to call it for what it is. Yeah, I granted she's a government spokesperson, but it still doesn't mean she should come and misinform our audience. You understand? She hasn't been there. I've been there. So when I'm talking about what I see, I know what I saw. This school that she's talking about, you said you went there. They are sleeping 200 in one small tent. The tent is too hot. There is no mosquito net. The people can't find food. The water is still not there. So why would you come?
Even flooded.
The rooms are still flooded. So why would you come and sit here and tell us something that doesn't exist? I'm sorry. Let's be also fair. Let's be truthful, and let's call it what it is.
This is sad.
This is an Akufo-Addo induced
This
flood.
is sad.
It is
No.
happening.
This
It
is
is the people.
No,
it is-
from a whole
no, Prof. We
humanitarian
can't
aspect. This is
we can't allow you to say that.
It's
You can't
sad
say that.
and unfortunate.
Dr.
Now,
Bawumia gave the
No, I think you need
Sierra
to
Leoneans, he
discourage
gave the
some
Sierra
of these
Leoneans
things. No.
$2
You need
million.
to
discourage some of
Prof, I would
And then
like
he
for you
went
to
to-
desist from saying things
Okay.
like
I
as an
won't say
Akufo-Addo
those,
induced
but let me
flood.
say, Dr. Bawumia went to Sierra Leone when they had their problems. He gave them $4 million. How much did he give to the Volta region? 160,000 Ghana cedis. You see the discrepancy. So what we are saying is that literally
About $12,000.
thank you.
Attempt.
Everything they have, 4 million or Sierra Leoneans, they are not Ghanaians. So Sierra Leoneans didn't vote for him to be president of Ghana. This flooding that is happening in the Volta region, there is NPP, there is CPP, there is NDC people. We are all the same. We are all Ghanaians. Even his own people that will have to vote for him in his election coming next week are in there. You gave them 160 million Ghana cedis. That's like $12,000. You gave the Sierra Leoneans $4 million. You see what the message they are sending. And it is that message
think you
that
are
Ghanaians
making-
are seeing and Ghanaians are hearing.
This
It
is
is
sad.
that specific message that is giving us that impression
Dr.
that
Grace,
perhaps
I think
this
you
is
need to
Prof, I think you should
this
calm
is
down.
a
I think you need to
mistake.
watch
Yes.
this
Now,
show
for
when
me,
you are done.
there are some-
Now let me don't
please,
make
you are
sense.
finished.
We have to talk to Nanaya and then.
What's Nana you are going to say?
no.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean to say? What do you mean?
Don't you say that all the time? What are you going to say?
Yes,
No, no.
What do you mean what she's going to say?
You
Okay,
see,
Laura,
Dr.
please,
Latu
Laura,
has
calm
said
down.
certain things.
Yes.
She said this is a continuous process. That's an unfortunate statement.
Why?
Under the
unfortunate about that?
under the circumstances, from what we are seeing, this is something called rapid response. You should have immediate response, an emergency plan with all aspects on board. This one you cannot say is a continuous process. You cannot be lackadaisical about it. You cannot be slow about it. When she talks about the houses, we have AESL, Architectural and Engineering Services Limited, I think under the Ministry of Highways. You could move them in immediately the government wing, to assess and even put some contractors, a group of architects to assess the damage and the future of the buildings.
But the buildings are currently still submerged.
My dear, an expert is an expert. When they see when you put experts together, when they see the level of what is going, that is why somebody is an expert. When I have a headache and I go to the hospital, doctor here will tell me, I will think that I have malaria, but she will let me go and do a test or even suggest certain things that can create a headache first by just seeing me, my demeanor. So the experts who will be put together, if they want to really work, would ensure that they do the right kind of work. For government to even know how much has to be put into resettlement, rehabilitation, and all that. Who can come back, who cannot come back, which areas can be salvaged, roads that has to be rebuilt, and all that. So you put experts together, they can see it. But you see, the point is that rapid response and emergency plan. Latu also said that community water and sanitation have given them water, has reconnected them to the water source. Community water and sanitation, they dig boreholes. So where have they dug the boreholes? VRA does not give water. Maybe they have sent tankers or polytanks. But actual water to the main source is only Ghana Water that does that. Community water works in the communities and they give boreholes. So where have the boreholes been dug? You see, they should.
The submerged water.
Yes, where you see, if you have given them water that they have been reconnected. Ghana Water is the only person. That is why when you get a plumber to reconnect your meter when you are disconnected, it's a crime. So only Ghana Water is the one that does that. So why community water and sanitation?
Okay.
Did you get me? I mean, some of the things that she's saying does not make up. Yes, it is not her fault. Maybe they haven't briefed her properly. For instance, you talk about safe havens. Are you telling me that I live in my house? Somebody has been negligent. The person is still in office. The person has not even been sacked. And you put me in a classroom, clustered. That you have put me in a safe haven, where the children are even crying that they want to go back to school, where there are no bathrooms, there are no toilets. If I get my period as a young woman, how do I bath? That is a safe haven. Government by now should have mentioned to us that A, B, C, D places have been earmarked to evacuate people. She was talking about VRA coming in. So if VRA is the one in the forefront of resettlement, why do you need an interministerial committee? Because she's talking about VRA. She said VRA did a press conference. Then we don't need an interministerial committee because by now the interministerial committee, which is the apex body for everything that is going on, should have come out to tell us that there are 3 meetings after drinking tea, Lipton or whichever. They have been able to do A, B, C, D. So that the tea and the rice that they ate is worth it. You don't shift the blame to VRA who has caused the problem. Because the person or the group that caused the problem, if they really had the expertise to deal with it, why did they cause the problem? This is causing financial loss to the state because you have already caused the problem. You are going to churn out 21 million of Ghanaian money, taxpayers' money, to resettle. And what is the budget? Where is the budget? Why 21 million? They should itemize it for us to see why 21 million. We need invoices. We need accountability. You can't just say 21 million and you just throw it out there. They should itemize it. 2 CDs for this, 3 CDs for that. The other thing is that they say that NADMO is on the ground. Why is it that when you media you are there, you don't show NADMO on the ground? All the news I have seen are individuals donating. So show NADMO on the ground. I saw His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I saw Honorable Alan Chematin. I saw the brother of His Excellency and other people.
Ibrahim.
Yes. So where is NADMO? We don't cover NADMO working. Because you should also cover NADMO so that we see that NADMO is working. It is not by mouth. Oh. We want to see because it is your responsibility as the media to tell us what government and NADMO is doing. You see, these people cannot just come and cover things and let it be. This is a serious matter. We shouldn't put politics into it.
The first day I visited, there was a tent that said NADMO had given them 15 mattresses.
One
so
minute.
Even though I didn't see it,
15 mattresses.
Yes, there was a tent.
15.
Yes, this is one tent.
1-5.
15.
But this is one tent.
1-5.
15.
Yes, one tent. Who said,
15.
so even though we didn't cover NADMO,
When you went to Kizito,
there were some people who said that
were people
NADMO had
sleeping
been
on mattresses or they were standing?
there weren't many.
Now, can I come in now?
Yes, you have the final word, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Please, when we sit here to discuss the plight of people, we need to be also consistent. Nanaya and Dr. Grace may have their own perceptions about the government and other things, but when it comes to the lives of people, we need to reduce the petty politicking. Dr. Grace was talking about 4 million to Sierra Leone. That's the blatant lie. The government gave 1 million to Sierra Leone.
The 1 million and 160.
You get it? Government, Dr. Baumia went there. Oh, Nanaya, why? Let me talk.
Yes, please keep quiet.
Dr. Baumia went to Sierra Leone as the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana and gave 1 million on behalf of the government of Ghana.
Dollars.
When Professor Mills was president, Haiti had an issue. Government of Ghana gave $3 million. Dr. Grace can check.
What is that?
The money that Dr. Baumia gave when he went to the Volta region for this spillage was a personal donation.
Yes, has he paid tax?
Let's be consistent.
Okay.
Let's be consistent in these things. It's not you need to get your facts right. You get it. Look, the Deputy Director General of NADMO hasn't been to Accra since the spillage happened. These are verifiable facts. The water that has been restored in Aveime is a verifiable fact. The augmentation of toilet facilities in St. Kizito is something you can verify. The polytanks, the 5,000 liters polytanks that have been provided by VRA are verifiable facts that you can check. The people are there. You don't sit in Accra, you haven't been there, and come and tell me that what she's saying is not true.
How do you know having been there?
Dr. Grace went there. Dr. Grace went there, wanted to see what she wanted to see. Unfortunately, it is sad. It is sad. It is sad that we've gotten, Dr. Grace.
Please allow her to speak.
It is sad that we've gotten to a point where Nanaya thinks that government should turn relief efforts to a PR gimmick like what the NDC is doing.
But what PR
it's
gimmick?
amazing
You are not
how
saying
Nanaya has seen the former president, seen NDC operatives.
I've seen Alan Chematin.
Hasn't seen NADMO DG, hasn't seen NADMO Deputy DG, hasn't seen the Deputy Minister of Health, Madam Tina Mensah, has been there. The Minister of Education has been there. He was there with Reverend Tim Fojo. The President has been there. The Vice President has been there. You get it? The 20 million we are talking about from VRA is not a pledge. And Doc, get that right. It is commitment they have made for the things that have been given. There's no doubt about it. But what really amazes me is how Nanaya can say that AESL can go and check the integrity of buildings that are submerged in water. How can that be done?
Well, how can it be done? Everything can be done. Everything, if you want to do it. Everything can be done if you want to do it.
Even bridges can be assessed.
Bridges can be assessed at the bottom of the when you were talking, she kept quiet. Nanaya,
when I was talking, Nanaya, keep quiet.
Bridges can be assessed at the bottom of the ocean.
What time?
Okay. So these buildings that are submerged in water, some virtually or invisible.
Why not?
AESL can go and do an assessment. The building that's still in water, and any engineer, any structural engineer, any civil engineer will tell you. Once it's submerged in water, he can go in and do an assessment, however they think can be done. But it's still in the water. The water is not seeping through.
If you really
so there's still damage. So let's get some of these things right.
You can do it.
VRA, when they came out, what happened? They started spilling. It was on the 9th of October that they had to increase the quantum. The effect of this started on the 10th of October. They went in there, because VRA has an emergency preparedness plan. Right.
Where is it?
They have an emergency preparedness plan that comes. The phase 2, quickly, they have to bring in NADMO, because according to the plan, when it goes beyond their capacity, they have to bring in the other state agencies. That's why I said NADMO, Ghana Health Service, all those things, all those agencies came in. That is what informed the setting up of the InterMinisterial Committee. You get it? And like I was saying, you mentioned about the health minister and the education minister. They've been added to it. And also by the sheer numbers of women
what about the
and children. The women and children that we've come up based on the data. Over 9,000 women, over 9,000 female children, and all that. The gender minister has been added to the committee based on the continuous feedback that we are getting. The gender minister has been added to the committee. And for Nanaya to think that this is a continuous process and she doesn't understand, that one is very difficult for me to explain to her, because this is definitely a continuous process.
Is rapid
when we are
response.
rolling, what is rapid response? Rapid response is when you go in there, evacuate the people, make sure they are
So why don't you
that
do
is what
it?
is being
Why
done.
don't you do it?
You see,
you haven't done it. It's almost 2 weeks. You haven't done it. You're talking about
when people have made up their mind, they're sitting here
why don't you go
pretending
there?
to be sleeping.
Why
They're
don't
sitting
you
here
go there?
pretending to be sleeping.
What do you mean?
But unfortunately,
What do you mean by
I
we
still
are
haven't
sitting here
acquired the
pretending to be
powers
sleeping?
When
to
do
be
we
waking
hope-
up people who are
Nanaya,
pretending to be
what
sleeping.
are you
So I can't do that.
Like,
But the
you have to
last thing we should be doing
Nanaya,
here,
She has
last
said that
thing-
we are
the
not
last
sleeping
thing-
here. Please,
the last thing we should
that is
be,
an insult.
the last thing we can,
What's an
Nana, if you
insult?
feel
What did-
insulted,
what did she say?
Sorry,
That
but
you are
I
pretending-
said
you didn't
I've
hear. You didn't hear.
I haven't
That you're
acquired the
pretending to be
powers
sleeping.
to be
It means
waking.
that
She's offended by what you said.
Yes.
Nana, I'm sorry if you
Please
think, but
apologize.
what I
Yes.
said was I haven't acquired the powers to be waking up people who are pretending to be sleeping.
You are saying it again.
You're
I
saying
haven't.
it again.
No,
This is clear
I've
but
mentioned Nanaya's
she
name.
feels offended by what you
Nana, I'm
said.
sorry if you feel offended.
Withdraw what
Okay,
she
I
has
withdraw
said.
it.
Yes,
Thank you.
better.
I withdraw it, but it still doesn't take away the fact that this has nothing to do with tribalism. This has nothing to do with it's the people of Ghana. When TV3, Media General, goes out there to give their relief items, you don't go asking, are you people NDC? You go there and see Ghanaians first. Our brothers and sisters in the Volta region are citizens of this country. Governments will do everything possible to restore. When you're talking about roads, some 5 million,
let's continue.
some 5 million
Let's continue.
CDs has
Thank
been
you.
committed
otherwise then we
to
will
developing
leave.
of roads.
Why?
You had the agri minister commit the 40
Latu.
million for the farmers.
Yes.
You get it. I know.
Latu.
Yes, now.
When do
That's
we
why
hope
there's
to
World
hear back from the
Bank.
Inter-
There's a World Bank
Interministerial
that has been
When we-
redirected there.
Nanaya, when do we hope to hear from the Interministerial
I can't
Committee?
give you a date, but what I know is after the briefing on Tuesday, there'll be frequent ones, and it will be at the in the Volta region.
So who's
when the dates are, and like I said,
People need to
when I
be-
mentioned,
we
I
are
told you
talking
one
about
of your
press
reporters
conference.
were there.
Who's
the ground?
But how best
Who's
can
making it PR?
how best
Yes,
how
people
best
people want to be doing press conference.
Okay.
People want to be
You are doing
comfortable.
press
conference.
Obviously, this is a sensitive
in one
matter.
breath,
Give us a
government
plan.
should be
Alright.
communicating.
Ladies,
we
Best
need
can
to
government
communicate.
communicate?
We said give us a plan.
Men and
We
women.
need to say
If you don't stop talking about each other, I'm going to end the
Give us
segment
a
now.
plan.
All right, that's the end of the segment. We
Give
wanted
us a
to
plan.
talk about the MPP flag bearership race and some of the accusations and counter-accusations which have come out, but we're unable to do that because we've exhausted all of the time talking about the flags, which is also very important.